Welcome. We'll get started shortly. Before we begin, here's how to earn continuing professional education credit for attending this session. There are no polling questions or attendance checks. Instead, you will demonstrate your knowledge by taking a brief multiple-choice quiz using the Earmark app. Visit earmark.app in your web browser. You can also download the mobile app by scanning the QR code on the screen. Log in, or if you're new, create your free account. Be sure to use a valid email address because that's where we'll send your course completion certificates. From the home screen, scroll down to find the course. You can also tap the magnifying glass icon to search for the course. Tap on the course artwork, then the Enroll button. On the Course tab, you'll find the recording and quiz questions. Complete the quiz to earn your CPE certificate. It takes us a few days to create the course on the app, so if you are attending this session live, please wait a few days. We'll email you a link to the course when it is ready. If you have questions or need help, email us at support@earmarkcpe.com. And now, on to the event.
Welcome. Good evening, all the participants. I hope everybody is getting settled in, and we're about to start shortly. So we'll give a few more seconds. So I think good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm not sure where everybody is, but I suppose everybody's somewhere in the United States, and we're about to get started shortly. So today's topic is mastering tax compliance and client communication for accountants, and it is brought to you by iFind Tax Pro. We are a tax software solution that is based in the US that is a seamless solution to help tax professionals streamline compliance planning as well as client communication. And we're giving you the first preview. We're in alpha mode. So we've been working tirelessly to put this software together, and we're now ready to give you the first sneak peek. But before we do that, we wanted to also introduce myself. So my name is Roxy Kwane. I'll be your host for the evening. I'm the VP of Platform Operations at iFind Tax Pro, and I'm not alone. We've got our expert for this webinar is Dmitry Kustov, who's a renowned CPA who runs a boutique firm on the West Coast in San Francisco. He's also a certified iFind Tax Pro compliance professional. He's an ICPA International Tax Committee member, and he's also a published author of U.S. Taxation of International Startups and Inbound Individuals for Founders and Executives. And the point of this webinar really is, before getting into the technology, we wanted to bring an expert who could share some of his insights in his 28 odd years, he'll correct me if I'm wrong, of experience as a CPA. And hopefully he'll shed some light that will give some nuggets of value for the participants today. So I'm looking forward to let Dimitri share some of his knowledge. So just do some of the formalities. Our objectives today is we want to have you understand how to build a comprehensive tax compliance plan by the end of this, learn the best practices for client communication, discover how technology can help you automate some of these tasks. We'll also introduce a DARC framework. That's just an acronym we've coined at iFind Tax Pro, which will help to manage compliance effectively. And more importantly, Dimitri is going to share some overlooked federal compliance opportunities that can save clients money. That's some of the golden nuggets that he has for us for today. And yeah, so basically why this webinar matters is that tax compliance is becoming more and more complex, and the to-do list is becoming longer and longer, especially in the US. So accountants definitely need tools and strategies that will help them streamline. And we'd also want to make sure that we provide you with actionable insights from this time together. So as far as pain points that around compliance point, that kind of were the inspiration behind our product as well, iFind Tax Pro, is that keeping up with the ever-changing regulations across various states is one of those pain points, and I think burdens that every CPA is required to be specialized in. And these rules keep changing, and you're dealing with clients from different states with different rules. Then you have managing the client documentation, client onboarding, and deadlines, and also avoiding costly errors and penalties. And typically a lack of efficient communication protocols sometimes creates problems for a lot of tax professionals with their clients. And the cost of those errors is penalties. That if you miss compliance points, there is implications, which is penalties, client trust, reputation, as well as time, right? When you're manually managing compliance tasks, it takes a time away from your advisory work. So this is an opportunity for improvement, and that's what iFind Tax Pro has come onto the market to do, is to transform compliance from a burden to a value add and allow tax professionals to focus more on giving value as opposed to the mundane tasks. So we're going to introduce some tools and processes during this session to make compliance more manageable. And to kick it off and to introduce our guest, Dimitri, we're going to be looking at the 8 federal and state compliance tasks that are often overlooked by tax professionals. And hopefully here you're going to find some insights that will help you as you get into this next compliance season. So with that, Dimitri, welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Rox. Thank you. Earmark and iFind Tax Pro for opportunity to present with you. Here you go. In my opinion, entity compliance planning as a holistic approach is dangerously underdeveloped in academia and practice. We all learn about income taxation, and it occupies 90% of our focus. Of course, this is fine because this is the most complicated aspect of compliance. However, the full spectrum of compliance work is rarely approached as a distinct standalone topic. I think it's a little bit of a miss. Yet there are mandatory compliance tasks without which an entity can simply fail, and there are incentives to take advantage of that help businesses thrive, even survive as viable enterprises during difficult times if you take advantage of the incentives. I recently listened to an attorney describing how failing to file a fictitious business name statement when required could result in entity owners becoming personally liable for their actions. This occurs because it is unclear on whose behalf the business is operating when it is using a fictitious business name, which is a trade name that is different from the formally registered one. So if a business using not their own registered name, it's not clear who's doing it, business or the owners of the business. And therefore, there could be some liability issues. And similar issues arise when a business fails to maintain proper registration renewals in states where it operates. And from what I hear, not being, of course, an attorney, if an entity does not register or properly maintain its registration in a state, its contracts may not be enforceable, while counterparties may still have a valid claim. And of course, the compliance tasks often hover, between the legal realm and the domain of taxation.
Right.
Renewals can also be handled by the businesses itself or by attorneys. What I mean is various state and local registration renewals. However, since accountants hold such a dangerously sounding designation, we're often held accountable if something important is not completed. Um, a big shout out to the iFind Tax Pro platform, of course, which does a perfect job, in my opinion, for any compliance junkie out there, whether an attorney or accountant or even the clients themselves. It helps them stay in effective and pointed communication, giving the best chance for the entity to remain in good legal and accounting standing and not miss opportunities. So today we'll focus on examples of both mandatory compliance and incentives that every business should consider. Um, let's see. Rax, can you move to the first? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay. Now, I suspect many of you know about this one. There's a series of forms for Bureau of Economic Analysis. They usually come into play when there are foreign investors in U.S. enterprises. I think in that side it requires 10% minimum holding by a foreign investor, and then those forms kick in. Now, they have to be filed within 45 days of the investment in the U.S. speaking about planning and doing things in advance, 45 days. So the moment transactions begin, so it's not exactly when the entity formed, but it's when transactions begin. The moment transactions begin, you have 45 days to let Bureau of Economic Analysis know. And if entity is not large, which most of them not in the beginning, you must usually file Form B13. This is an exemption form. So you just basically say, okay, we're here, we don't really have anything, but not, but take a note, okay? Now penalties, if one not complies, it's not less than $2,500, no more than $32,500. Like
But that's
anything,
still a tidy
anything
sum.
foreign.
It's still a tidy
Yeah,
sum.
that's right. That's right.
Right.
Not at all. Well, everything I know, I'm sure everyone knows. All accountants know that anything to do with the foreign is just exorbitant penalties.
Right.
And that's not an exception here. If someone willfully doesn't comply, so it's $10,000 penalty. Now, of course, all of this is purely informational. I can't imagine anybody not willfully not complying unless they're totally lazy. But anyways, I haven't seen those penalties enforced, fortunately.
Right.
But last year they threatened that they would start doing this. So I think it's time we all remember about these forms and comply. Next on Form 5500. It's a form where you report assets, investment, and retirement invested under the retirement account, such as 401k, welfare benefit plans, and for large employers. And the form is due at the end of 7 months after the year end. So the reason I brought it up, I think every one of us, tax preparers, know this form. It has been around for a very long time. It's one of the standardized forms, but I recently found out that one of my clients wasn't filing it, and I sent them to an administrator that was supposed to administer all this. But then I found out that they didn't go to whoever I sent them to. They sent somebody else. They went to someone else, and that someone else then disappeared from the radar, and they kind of let it slide. I think that the reason why I brought it up is precisely that case. So what I think that we probably should, I mean, I would say if you ask all of your clients who run 401k, yeah, I'm sure you will find someone who is not filing this form for some reason. But the penalty is also pretty rough. It's $2,586 a day.
A day.
If plan administrator fails or refuses to complete accurate return, and then there is a 250 per day for not filing returns for certain plans, and it's so on. So they're very, very, very also rough in this case. The penalties are huge. Experience shows that if you run into a situation like that, they might send you a notice, but then they'll forgive you, especially the first time. But I think that it's wise to double check. That's again. So what we're
Right.
talking about here is let's double check with the clients that these kind of things are taken care of. Okay. Now, next one, Form 8300. I'm sure also everyone knows about it. It's due after a business receives $10,000 or more from a single transaction or series of transactions during the course of its business. And the form is due 15 days after the cash is received. Now imagine you have a client, they operate, they probably see you, or maybe they see you every quarter, or maybe they see you only once a year when they file tax return. And they might not have any idea about this Form 8300. So I think that if you have someone who might potentially deal in cash, receive payments in cash, or even paying in cash, I think we should warn them that there is this form and they have to be aware and have it filed. Now, this can only be done if you sort of anticipate the operations and you ask clients about operations and you do it in the outset when the entity starts, or maybe once a year you remind about it. I think that's a must. And of course, minimum penalty is 25,000. So if it's intentionally or willfully disregarded. I guess if someone doesn't listen to their accountant, is willful disregard. One interesting thing is, if you recall last year, there was this big news that IRS is implementing this form for all the payments received in cryptocurrency. And later on, IRS backed up at it a little bit, because Congress said, okay, IRS has to issue regulations, and before regulations are issued, this law can be postponed. And they did postpone it for a little bit more, I think. My projection that perhaps in a year or maybe 2 years, this will come live for crypto payments, and that would be majorly important, I think, for everyone. This is form is something to look uh, to kind of keep our eye on. So I hope, yeah. So those are three examples of forms that may get us in trouble. Now, um, another side of it is an opportunity, as Rax was saying, and I find it very important because it can pay for your fees, okay, one thing, or it can save the day actually for a company, if a company is in trouble, or if they're in difficult some sort of situation where they trying to do what could be the best for the company and employees. Also have a few examples here. I think everyone knows work opportunity tax credit. What's amazing about this credit is that you get this credit for every employee who lives in a special area and who are of a special background, like long-term unemployed, or maybe had some problems with law before. And the business can get 2,400 to 9,600 per such person when the business hires the person. The catch is that you have to file a form 5884 28 days after employee begins work. And again, so we see clients maybe once a year, maybe 2 times a year. And if we know that they're in such business where hiring this kind of employees is a distinct possibility, then we should definitely advise them on this and bring it up to them and say, okay, so we're putting together a compliance plan from the outset of the business. Here's this form. You might want to consider filing it if you hire such and such person. And this credit might influence their hiring decision also, and it could be a good thing. Mhm.
And I just want to add as well,
So,
Dimitri, that I think what I like about this is it allows the tax professional to move from just someone who's administrating, but to counseling, to strategy, and contributing to the business strategy, because this is very important from an HR strategy perspective for companies. So when a CPA is onboarding a new client, to give strategies on how they can save money or gain free money, I think that's what will make tax professionals stand out. So I really like that. Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. That's completely different sort of ball game from just say, okay, you have
Right.
to file this form and let's do it
Right.
and see you
Right.
next year. It's very, very different
Right.
ball game.
Right.
Excellent. Yeah. So another one also kind of uh, building up on what you just said, Rax, is family medical leave. That is a federal tax credit designed to incentivize employers to provide paid leave to their employees for family and medical reasons.
Right.
Like, the child comes to life reasons, or taking care of your elderly parents or spouse or family member. And you have to claim it on Form 8994, but you can get 12.5 to 25% of wages during the leave. So that can clearly influence decisions of the business. Let's say a business has a key employee, and employee has
Right.
to go for 3 months away for some reason, right? That qualifying, but business wants to keep that person. Maybe then this could be a very good help for them to continue paying something to that employee, and government would help with that. So unfortunately, it's effective only through the end of 2025. Family and medical leave tax credit. I hope maybe they'll continue with that, because I think this is very important, because US is very sort of is a country where basically everybody relies on the employer to support employees. Um,
Right.
Action plan. Okay, credit. There is another one also I find very, very, very interesting, and a generous credit for small employer pension plan startup costs. Again, it can clearly influence a decision on when to open the pension plan or which type of pension plan to open. And I think many states started making pension plans mandatory. I think California now has for certain employers, companies mandatory, and and the requirement goes even stricter next year. So, but the credit is quite generous. It's $250 per qualified employee, up to $5,000. For simple IRA or
Nice.
SEP plans, the credit is $1,000 per employee per year, and this is for the first 4 years. And then it was the progressive deduction of 25%, but still it was up. Let's just say five. Anyway, so it can be $4,000. Um, Maybe it's not a huge credit, but maybe it's important not to forget to claim it on the tax return when the preparation time comes. And usually it's easier not to forget to claim something if you plan for it in advance. Then,
Right.
rather than rather than trying to figure out during the busy times, like, oh, what else can I do? And there are minutes. So in the quieter time, you could plan for it and say, okay, guys, you open pension plan. Let's go for it. I think it's
If I can
very
add, Dimitri, I really like this because I think what's important is that without this knowledge going into a new client relationship as a tax professional, the client is leaving free money on the table, right? And the client will love you if they are already doing, retirement plans and they're unaware and they're leaving this money on the table. I think that's such a great opportunity for tax professionals just to add a bit of extra value for their clients.
oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's the name of the game here, I think, and yeah, and it's good for profession as well as for the specific CPA or enrolled agent or attorney. Okay, great. Thank you for this edition. Now, the state traps. Now, of course, everyone well aware of this situation for the past how many already? 7 years or so after the Wayfair, and the states were allowed to basically charge tax on economic nexus, even if a business is not physically present in the state. If certain level of sales is achieved, then the tax can be due to that state. It's either withholding tax or just the tax payment from the company. Um, so I here decided to single out three states for you today. Well, first of all, as you know, Wayfair, we're talking about $100,000 threshold. So anything less than 100,000, I think they will have hard time arguing that that's enough. Although they might try. So I think some states do try uh, less than 100,000. But specifically Hawaii, Washington State, and New Mexico, they basically say, all right, if you sell anything here into our state of more than 100,000 threshold, okay, you already owe the tax. And this is, in Hawaii, general excise tax of 4.5%. Washington State is business and occupation tax for between half percent and 1.5%, and New Mexico gross receipts taxes between 5 and 9%. So it's pretty high percentage. I understand, of course, New Mexico is kind of a smaller state, but Hawaii is not too small. So I find it pretty big item. And of course, if if you do something, so like in our company, we do the state's income and sales tax study every year for each client, just to make sure that we're not missing any of these compliance issues. But if sometimes we miss a state or we didn't get information on time, especially if it's for a few years, we do what we call quiet disclosures. So we call them and we say, all right, let's just agree we're gonna give you this client, but you're not going to charge us penalties. And most of the time they just go ahead, sure, why not, just bring it on. So now, but at the same time, right, states provide amazing opportunities for businesses that do want to work in that state, in those particular states. We just bring here for most prominent examples, like for example, a Texas Enterprise Fund. It's a discretionary cash grant program for companies that commit to creating high-paying jobs and investing in Texas. So if it's a high-paying jobs, or if you invest in Texas, you can get grants. It's discretionary, so you have to apply for it.
Right.
But they're from 250,000 to tens of millions of dollars. So,
Wow.
so
Wow.
it depends.
And that's free money.
Yeah, right.
That's
Yeah,
free
yeah,
money
yeah,
for the
free
client.
money. Yeah, exactly. This is amazing. I find it amazing. So basically, Texas can finance your business if you have a good idea. You know, this is amazing. So then, New York, Excelsior Jobs Program. So they basically give you 10% of wages or investment when you create a minimum level of jobs in New York State. I also find it fascinating. It's 10% of wages. It can be good amount of money. Now, Louisiana, for another example, Quality Jobs Program, up to 6% of annual gross payroll, or a project facility expense rebate of 1.5% for qualifying expenses. Again, Georgia Job Tax Credit Program, credits from $1,150 to $4,000 per job per year, up to 5 years. It's it's amazing how much. But the point why I'm giving these examples is that incentive study is something that every single accountant for every single company must implement. So a method to study incentives. It should be one of the key initial acts that you undertake when you welcome a business into your book of companies, because there is so much you can find on every level. And not only state level, there are tons of incentives on the county, on the city level for some larger cities, a lot. So I would say that this is something to look at. All right. Yeah. So basically,
Yeah.
now Rox, they could continue.
Yeah, thank you, Dimitri. That was such a great. I think we're only scratching the surface, right? And I
Yeah.
think it's understandable for a lot of tax professionals that you don't get paid to do all of this research, and it takes a lot of time, And in a lot of our user journey studies with CPAs, one lady was telling her it takes her an hour to do research for every state per client when looking at sales nexus, when looking at incentives, and that's manual work. And I'm excited because we have a solution for that. But thank you for these, Dimitri, and we will share this presentation after this webinar. So everyone, if you haven't taken any notes, and you can at least look over this on your own. And then, so our next segment is we're presenting a framework we've developed called DOC at iFind Tax Pro. And then we're going to go into just a short demonstration. Looks like we have 30 minutes left in this session, so we're going to have to be efficient to get through the rest of it. But so the DOC framework is something that we developed to help accountants manage compliance tasks, and more in terms of a tried and tested process that if you follow it every single time will guarantee you a structure that you can rely on and that you can teach and that, as your firm you can use. So D stands for discovery, which is really the first stage for all CPAs and any tax professional really. And discovery for us really starts at meeting the client and actually onboarding that client as a client, signing them up, signing your agreement, and then starting to do the discovery of what is their company, how is it registered, which states is it in, and that whole process, right? So Dimitri is one of the first batch of accountants that we gave access to our software. We're in alpha mode at the moment, so he's had the opportunity to play around with it a bit, and he can add a bit of his feedback, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I just wanted to say really quick. I really enjoy that feature. It's amazing. So you get this link in this I find
the
Tax Pro,
onboarding link,
and I put
right?
it right onboarding link. I put it in the signature to my email, and if I get some prospect, they say, "Hey, can I become a client? What it takes?" I was like, "Okay, right in the signature, just click on, sign up for our services." And they go, it literally takes maybe 5 to 10 minutes. They set everything up, they answer questions, it's all structured, and then our team gets to look at it and do what they do best. Yeah, so
And
that's
then after the onboarding link, just to build on what you're saying, Dimitri, then we have the initial interview tool. Can you just speak on how that was for you and how that's helped you streamline a bit?
Yeah, right. So initial interview, yes, as I said, it's a very good tool. It's very structured. There are a number of questions, and to each question, clients expected to upload some documents, relevant materials. Right there, they can ask question pertaining to that specific topic from us. Let's say, for example, okay, I uploaded this and this. Is it sufficient? Or what do I do if I don't have a bank account? Or can you help me with getting a EIN? Or, I have such and such owner. Is it a foreign owner? And so on and so forth. And we can communicate with them directly, just directly, specifically to that particular question. So it's not barrage of emails. It's very pointed to that question, and it seemed to work pretty well for us.
And the most exciting part, Dimitri, is now with our new AI integration, when a client
Oh,
has filled the set of questions that are our checklist for any client that you onboard. There's a standard set of questions that if you have the client answer all of them, it will be as airtight as compliance can be. But we've added AI now, and which then will do research for you and compile and allow you to educate your client a bit better. And we'll do a bit of a demo on that. But so that's D, that's the discovery part, and some of our solutions onboard link and the initial interview. Then the A is the assessment, because now once you've gathered all this information, this is where the heavy lifting, the heavy thinking, the heavy research comes in to allow you to create that final custom plan and strategy that you can put before the client. And what's your feedback on the compliance plan generator and how it's helped you with the assessment, Dimitri?
yeah, excellent. So what do we usually do after client answers all the questions they need to answer? Our team takes on and prepares a preliminary compliance plan based on this AI now. So it used to be not AI; it's a recent feature. Now we're going to use this AI. And based on answers, we pre-generate this compliance plan for the client. Then, usually, I myself meet with the client and we look at this compliance plan together and look at some other possible compliance points. And we have a wonderful in-depth discussion with all the materials in front of us. And this is part of the assessment. So it's not us just telling client what to do, not at all. You already saw so many opportunities or so many possible traps
Right.
that we need to plan, anticipate. So it's anticipation and planning. And this software so far has allowed us very efficiently to zoom into all this. And it literally takes from half an hour to 1 hour to go through this list, just because there's so much information there already. And we can just say, hey, here's how about this, how about this, and it works fine, very efficient.
Wonderful, Dimitri. And what really excites us about the compliance plan feature in iFind Tax Pro is that it gives you that ability to share a collective environment with a client that you both have access to, and also assign responsibilities, assign deadlines, and then when we're all done, to save the plan and send it to your client. And that then takes us to the most important thing, reminders. Even the best compliance plan fail if a deadline is missed. So we've set up a calendar integration which sends automated notifications based on the reminders that you've set, and also who you have signed between the professional or the client based on what you have agreed. So we're pretty excited about that. And yeah, how was the calendar feature for you, Dimitri?
It's very good. The client's feedback was amazing because when you go on this calendar, and I think you'll show us later on, but
Right.
it shows you 12 months compliance tasks. So it kind of automatically updates, and it has this feature that it shows your 12 months. And it's clear what you need to do. Like, okay, usually it's from 5 to 10 on average major compliance points that everybody needs to keep track of. And then clients receive reminders from the system, and they can click on those reminders, and they can go and see what has been done about certain compliance point. Is somebody working on it, or what's maybe there are questions outstanding. And of course, reminders intensify closer to the deadline.
Right.
Some clients ask us to turn it off sometimes, which we do. You can turn it off as well. But as long as someone is right working on it, that works great. Yeah, yeah. That's all we need.
Well, and then the last of the acronym DARK is compliance, where obviously now the work gets done and you can perform the necessary compliance tasks. But also to assist in this aspect, we've also built in an AI assistant called Taxman that's inbuilt into the system, that you can just ask little queries that if you have some questions to fill the gaps in your strategy for the compliance plan, there's a tool in the platform that will allow you to do that. And how was your experience with the AI assistant, Dimitri?
Yeah, it's been great. What's important about this one, I think, is that during the compliance, of course, our communication with the clients doesn't stop at all, right? It actually becomes more intensive, and we do it again through this what they call compliance points. So there is this page that opens for each compliance point. There is a page, and that page has an ability to message to clients, and clients message to you regarding that specific narrow compliance point.
Right.
You can save files there. You can save files right there. You can then, even if you have emails, you can attach emails to that particular topic. And then save it, upload final tax return, for example, into that space, and it can be, and then that's archived, and you can look at it 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now, and all the information, all the exchanges relating to that topic will be saved right there. So at
In
some
one
point, yeah.
place.
So yeah, I found it fascinating because let's say 2 or 3 years, very often clients need statements, or they have a question: Why did we make this decision? Why did we make that decision? And everything, who said what and why, is right there.
Right.
So you
Right.
can't hide. Can't hide.
Well, I'm glad you brought out that nuance. So I'm really happy with that. So I think, Dimitri, without further ado, let's go through the software, right? Just to give people a bit of an idea of where we are. And our software is in alpha mode. In software terms, that just means that we are releasing something that we want to put in the hands of tax professionals before we complete what we're doing, so that we can build with the tax professionals and customize to their fitting. And that's where Dimitri came in. He's been gracious enough to integrate this into his system at his firm, and he was pleasantly surprised. But thank you, Dimitri. You've been a great support in helping us build the product further. But I think without further ado, let's get into the dashboard. So when you log into your dashboard, this is our first landing page, right? And your dashboard here, we've created a dummy account. So depending on how busy you are, all your clients, you're going to have them in one dashboard, right? And how this works is then I'm going to start with the doc process that we talked about, the discovery, right? And the first piece of the discovery process is the onboarding link. I just want to show you how the onboarding links. You come here, send a link to the client to set up the account. So you just copy this link, right? And then once you've copied that link, let me
but Rex,
I just want to show,
but maybe important to add that first, you get approved as a professional on the network. I think that's what I had to do. And after that, you get that link, that magic link that you can send to your prospects. And that's what
I mean, thank you for putting that in. I'm just speeding it up just due to time. But yes, Dimitri is correct that our platform requires you to submit your license, right? So, and this is all part of the credibility that we want to offer clients that come and work on the platform, to know that the professionals have been vetted. But even professionals that are maybe bookkeepers, they can come and sign up as well. And if they're not CPAs, they just won't need the accreditation and they won't be given a professional account, but they can use the platform on board people. But I just want to take them through quickly, Dimitri, just so that we don't run out of time and hopefully have some Q&A as well. So I'm going to speed this up a bit. So this is the staging. This is what the link looks like at the moment. So that we've set up a demo account just for the sake of this, right? So what you would do is obviously please enter your email. This is your client now that you're onboarding. And then it goes into the step-by-step breakdown of how the process is going to work, from step 1, agreement, initial interview, compliance points. So this is a very easy tool, IFTP demo. I'm going to just do this quickly and show you how easy it is for a client to fill this in, right? So I'm going to say test account. Let's do this quickly. Okay. So this is what the client has to fill in, and we just want to show you. So we'll say late night snacks is your client's name. All right, that's the company name. And then they can say we're an e-commerce business or whatever it is. They can select the services that they want from you. They can leave any comments about the requested services, right? And so then all they have to do is agree and submit, right? And then once they have submitted, this then goes back to your account. I'm just going to go back into, and then if we go back to our dashboard, voila. So now this is on your professional account. You've now onboarded a new client, right? Which is the late night snacks, then e-commerce brand. And so now the initial interview, just to show you how that looks. Now the client is in and you want to start the compliance process. The first step in that compliance process is the initial interview, which is not playing ball. Let me refresh 1 second.
I think that you need to first maybe complete the client's registration, if I'm not mistaken. But okay, try.
Yeah. So I've got there we go. So now this is how our initial interview works, right? So what we first have to do is set the context for the company. What type of entity is it? Tax status, right? When is your tax year end? You can come in and select that. You can set up an engagement letter. There's all these, but this is the most important. We're going to just test one question. These are all questions which will be standard in every plan. So let's start with, in which state is your entity incorporated or organized, right? So just for test purposes, let's say we say Delaware, and then we'll just come in here and also click Delaware, which allows you to, but this is the communication environment that the question can answer. The client can answer any questions related to this point. So if they have a question, they can upload documents. The questions are here, which turns into a string of back and forth between you and the client, specifically on this compliance point, right? So when you've done that, registration date, let's say, whenever, registration date, then you go to complete, and then you can say generate AI compliance point. Okay. Now I need to, so what I've done for the sake of time, I'm going to take you to what a final plan looks like, because we really are out of time and we wanted to give time for some Q&A. But so now when we're looking at a compliance plan after filling in the initial interview, this is an idea of what it looks like. So this company here, State of Delaware, right? That's where they were incorporated. You open that, then you have all the Secretary of State recurring steps. When is the filing due date? What are the fees? What are the tax dues? Where to file? What are the penalties? Payments due? It gives you links to go and do more research yourself. But based on the context of what the state is, that's all the system needs. And it'll do all the research on around where your locality is. So then you're also operating in California. So you also have to do Secretary of State for California. And the rules are different, but the AI solution will round up all of that, the due dates, the fees, where to file, and give you some links and help you with that research. And here is where it gets exciting now. We've been talking about incentives. This client operates in San Francisco. So what the solution does, it'll find the incentives for you based on locality. So here they're in San Fran. So now here's the enterprise zone tax credit, payroll expense, tax exclusion, client technology payroll. And this is exactly the value that we wanted to save tax professionals from doing the research for, but they can now add that value to the client at the press of a button, right? So that's some of the incentives. And it's really, so at state level, you get state level incentives as well as local level incentives. So it's a pretty robust system. And yeah, so you have things like initial, so all the compliance points that one needs to deal with, you're going to find them here. And we give you a long list. It can be as long as it needs to be. But most importantly, once it's generated, you can simply assign, right? And to assign, you can say either it's the professional or it's the client who's doing the filing. Then you set your deadline for the filing. So what this environment allows you to do is you go through this environment with your client at the end to say, this is your checklist of compliance points and who's doing what. The client does this, what the professional is doing. So it's a really robust system. We've included some templates that even deal with things like, filing different forms, right, that need to be formed, employee, federal, and state payroll forms. So it really saves you a lot of time on research, right? So that's now your compliance plan. And then from your compliance plan, that then goes to your calendar, which we're talking about. And here's what the calendar would look like. So you have the calendar as well as your compliance points. And then you have a countdown. So this is the deadline live countdown timer. It shows you the entity. It shows you the point duplicated. You can set the reminder dates. You can set the deadlines. Who's the responsible party? What is the status of that? And just to quickly show you now, when you click onto it, you can get into a more detailed breakdown of the actual point. And this is where all the communication, all the files that have been shared, all the due dates for that specific point will be. And then you can customize our template. So if you want to add, more info, right? This is where you can do whatever client related custom information. That would be great. Then when you're starting the process, you can say in progress. You can save your changes. And just to show you, when you go back to your calendar, now when your client comes to see where things are, they can see what's in progress, right? that now that is in progress and you are working. So that's our calendar feature, which is linked also to emails, and it will send clients notifications on the first reminder date as well as on the deadline, right? So I think that's very important, just to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. So I think from a demo perspective, these are the main aspects we wanted to show you. The initial interview, which is the questions that you will ask your client to answer. And this process guides the client to ensure that you have a full record of every point that should be covered, right? And then you can delete points that you don't need, that are not relevant to you. That's all up to you. It's customizable. But the great thing is then you can generate a compliance point using artificial intelligence, and then it does all the research for you. That then allows you to have a clear compliance plan, which is where now you meet with the client, you share the screen, and to say, based on the initial interview and the context that you have given me, these are the compliance plans that we currently have on record as that you have to pay attention to. And this is where you can assign between the different parties, you can assign due dates, and then that shows up in your calendar. So really that for us is the most important, we just wanted to give you a sense of it. We obviously encourage you to sign up for yourselves to make sure that you get a feel of the product. We're still in alpha mode, which means that we want to build the rest of the product with CPA and tax professionals' inputs. So once you sign up, we're really wanting to work with with people that can add value and also get value from the product. And we believe it's really a win-win, right? So the key takeaways really has been how to build plans, how to leverage technology, client communication. But while we have a little bit of time left, I just want to talk about some exclusive offers that we've put together for webinar attendees, which is one till the January 31st this year. If you sign up for a 12-month contract, you can enjoy certain perks. One is a 50% discount on your selected iFind Tax Pro paid plan, and we're going to send the promo codes out along with this presentation so that everybody has this. And then one of our partners, which we're excited about, is Bouquet AI. So they are a bookkeeping AI solution that leverages generative AI to maintain consistent and reliable record keeping. It includes features like automatic accruals, seamless integration with QuickBooks and Xero. And we just felt it would be a great value that complement what we have from a compliance planning perspective. So these are the offers available. Do sign up today. We also want to introduce the iFind Tax Pro Certified Compliance Professional Program, and this is Dimitri is one of our certified professionals. And key perks is annual rebates based on activity and platform revenue, and that will be for the first 100 certified compliance professionals that are active on the platform. They'll benefit from the annual rebates and ability to contribute to the templates and the feature changes on the platform, and to make requests to say this form or this template is not in the system, can you please add it? A certification badge on your profile, and then priority customer support. And then to obtain the status of a certified compliance professional, sign up for a paid subscription at any level, and then just email us at partners@iFind Tax Pro just to state that you're interested in the certification for compliance professionals. And all you have to do is attend a free 2-hour training, and our next date is February 1st. Right. So for anybody who's interested in becoming a certified compliance professional, and this training will allow you to become an expert at using the product and leveraging it to give your clients the value they need and organizing your own work. So yeah, we encourage you to be an early adopter, build with us. Please check out our website. Please visit our page and see what we are about. And while we have a little bit of time left, we thought maybe if there's any questions, this would be a good time for anybody to ask. We've covered a lot today, but it would be great to hear from you and see what if there's any questions. Let me see.
Yeah, I see here there is a question regarding
from Ryan.
For the incentives. Does it also break it down by industry or just location? Yes, I believe it does. there is one of the questions that asks, what is your business? So, okay, what kind of business you conduct? So you enter the business that you're doing, and location, obviously, the state and the city and the county, and that's pulled by business type. Like, for example, right. So it does it as well. I believe it does, or at least
Yes.
the compliance points are done by that, by the type of the
And
business.
and just to add,
Um,
Dimitri, that this is an ever improving, and we want to make the product better by getting
yeah,
feedback from professionals. But
right,
yes, we do have the
right.
ability to give you industry specific features. Yeah.
Uh,
Thanks, Ryan. You want
Right.
to add
There
anything?
are how many questions? Yeah, right. There are a lot of questions, and each of them addresses a granular topic, and that's why I guess they did it this way, so that to bring in as much as possible and miss as little as possible. But I think what we find in our practice, yes, we ask, we probably get 90% of what we want, but we still do our due diligence. But it's a lot easier to do due diligence. Well, you already have 90% in front of you, and then you just have to build on it a little bit, because sometimes when you go to the links, you can get a little better answer than little summaries that come in. But it's natural. I mean, you wouldn't expect the whole rules, everything come in this AI solution. So you still have to do a little bit work, but this is great. So I also have another question. I might have missed it, but what is the client onboarding like? I think Rax was showing that link. You basically copy link and you give it to your clients. Like what I do, I just have it in my signature. New clients sign up, they click on it. It takes them 5 minutes, enter information about their company, their account is created in the system immediately, and I get all the details right away. And then they fill out the initial interview, and and I can start generating compliance plan. Literally, I've had people set up with everything within 1 hour, with full compliance plan, with full calendar, with all the reminders, everything. And it's literally, it can be done in half an hour, but of course, communication is usually people do something this or that. But yeah, it's extremely quick, extremely fast.
And just some more ideas to
So
add there, Dimitri, is that there's other ways you can add it on your website, whatever your onboarding process is. And that's what we want to do is, the
right,
flexibility that people may have different onboarding processes. But when somebody wants to do business with you and you're like, okay, great, let's get started. That's where you would start, because then that will allow them to onboard themselves onto your iFind Tax Pro account and allow you to then start the process. So yeah, I
right.
think that hopefully answers Rachel's question. And yeah, Dimitri, I think we've covered a lot today. We are almost at the end of our time. And just the next step is, to encourage you, visit our website, ifindtaxpro.com. We're offering free trials, but we're going to send out a promo code specifically for the webinar participants so that you can claim more benefits. Then I also just want to plug Dimitri's book. If you go to amazon.com, Dimitri's book is called U.S. Taxation of International Startups and Inbound Individuals for Founders and Executives, updated for 2024 rules, right? So that's a great book, lots of value. I've gone through it. I think you'll benefit from that. And then try out the platform, sign up, give us feedback. We really need as many people to give us feedback as possible. And just thanks for joining us. We really hope that you got value from this session and that you'll take advantage of these tools and resources. And then if you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us after this webinar on partners@ifindtaxpro.com. That will come personally to me, and we can pass that to whoever, if it's depending on what the question is, but we're here to answer, and we look forward to helping you simplify compliance and enhance your practice. And that's the end of our webinar. Please follow us as well as iFind Tax Pro. You'll find us on LinkedIn. You'll find us on Facebook.
Right.
iFind Tax Pro. It's simple. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this
Yes,
is
Dimitri.
great. Okay, thanks. But you know what? I just understand. You know the reason why the compliance AI didn't work? Because you put a date. You put a date in the future. That entity is created in the future. So if you put a date that entity created before the date, that's probably going to work better. But I know
Thank you,
you're
Dimitri.
just going fast through that, and this is a.
Right. Look, we ran out of time, and I was just trying
I just figured it out. Okay,
bullet
all
through
good.
that. But
You
this
know,
is the
it's good.
process of innovation, is that
But
we're
I think,
building these solutions as we
yeah.
go.
But again, I think 1st of February is that right? You have the next presentation and training that you
Yes.
can demonstrate more of that. If yeah, terrific.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So Dimitri, thank you so much for making time. I really appreciate listening to you. You always bring great insights, and we look forward to maybe more opportunities where maybe we can unpack a bit more. Maybe we can look at what follow-up webinars we could
Yeah.
have after this, looking at different topics that may add value. And thank you once again. I don't know if you want to say anything before we wrap up.
Thank you. No, it's great to be part of this journey with you, Rax and iFind Tax Pro. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. And for all the attendees, thank you so
All right.
much for those
I
that
think-
have stayed until the end. We really appreciate that you have found value from this. Please reach out to us, sign up, and also look out for upcoming webinars, and you should hear from us soon. And have a good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world.
Today's event has ended. To earn CPE, go to earmark.app or scan the QR code on the screen. Then log in or create your free account.
Thank you.
Search for the course by tapping on the magnifying glass icon on the home screen and then entering the name of this event. It takes a few days to make the course, so if you're attending this event live, keep an eye out for an email letting you know when the course is available. Pass the quiz to earn your CPE, then tap the button to email yourself a certificate. Stay tuned for more events from Earmark. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.